Hello, everyone. This is Andres Restart. I should be joined by my good friend Brandon. What about Nodnarb? How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. Very ready to talk Nintendo, as always.
Yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. Um, yep, that's it. Thanks for coming by, everyone. Um, yep, I got nothing else to say. So yeah, yep,
Fair enough.
it's been a good show. I thought it was great. We said hello
Mm-hmm.
and
Hello
yeah,
and goodbye. All
yeah,
right, sign off.
great, the great times, So I think it was very well rounded. But in all jokes aside, what we're gonna be talking about today is just kind of like how we keep learning about Donkey Kong, how we keep learning about Metroid, we keep learning about Mario Kart. Like, there's just like little things that kind of keep coming out. Even about other games, right? Because Nintendo's been doing like these creators' voice little
Mm,
like segments that come out. Like we recently got one for Cyberpunk,
right.
and they said some interesting things about that game. I did one for Hogwarts Legacy a few days ago as well, and yeah, we just we learned some interesting stuff. Like Brandon, I know we talked about a couple weeks ago how we weren't sure how many games were using DLSS, but we're
Mm-hmm.
starting to learn about more and more actually are. Like Cyberpunk
Yeah.
is using deep learning super sampling, and apparently with Cyberpunk specifically, they're actually building it off of the PS4 version and like improving on it. Like they're like, all right, that's where they start from, the PS4, and then they just have continued like enhanced and worked on it. And so yeah, it's kind of it's what's led to what we see so far for Cyberpunk. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel pretty good about it. Like I'm definitely like waiting to see like those reviews once the
Yeah.
console and the games all come out. Like I want to see the final verdict on this version of the
Right.
game. But I really am starting to think that I might just be picking this one up because it
Okay.
seems like a really good version of the game.
I don't know how many Switch 2 third parties I'll pick up in general because I have a PS5 and usually I also play on PC a lot, but my PC needs a GPU upgrade. But I do plan on doing that as well. Um, But, if I decide maybe I want to play more on the go, it seems like it's going to be a really good version for that. So I'm hopeful that it will see a lot of improvements because the build we saw back earlier this month is like 7 weeks older than the current build, and we still by the time the Switch launches, that will be like a couple months old. So we did see some performance issues in like the really big scenes where there's like 30 people trying to fight you at one time. But I think that they can probably get it to a pretty consistent 30 FPS and make that a good version. I'm pretty hopeful that there will be a lot more optimizations to come because it was kind of an old build, and we don't even know how old, like how long they had to make that build. So I think we're just starting to, just barely scratch the surface on what third parties can do with this system.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if we talked about it last time, but in the case of Hogwarts Legacy, they they actually said during the creator's voice that they're building that game off not the Switch version, but the current gen version of the game,
Yeah,
like which is huge, really.
yeah, that one's not getting an upgrade patch because it's a whole new port from the ground up.
Yeah, I mean it's basically a new game,
Yeah,
and it's one of
completely
those
different
things.
version of the game, anyways. Yeah,
Like what the thing about the Switch One version of Hogwarts Legacy that really bothers me. I mean, one, it has the trademark, just kind of blurry, muddy mess sort of feel that a lot
yeah,
of AAA third party games have on Switch. But that's kind of like to be expected, unfortunately. The
right.
other thing about Hogwarts Legacy that I really disliked on Switch One is that it's not open world anymore. Like
Yeah,
it's like, oh, there's a house. Well, you got to press a button to go in. Oh, you want to go to this area? You got to press a button to go in. Like
right.
it's no
And
longer
those
a
loading
seamless
screens aren't
environment.
short; they're like 30 to 50 seconds
Yeah,
each. So in Hogsmeade, you'll probably spend like 5 to 10 minutes just in loading screens each time you go there. It's
yeah.
rough.
And so I guess it's interesting thinking about like why they won't let you just upgrade, for a small fee as opposed to just having to buy the whole game. I mean, because literally it's a totally different build. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
get
the
it, but
whole. They're pretty much porting the game again. Like they're not upgrading the Switch version of the port. They're doing a whole new port job from the ground up. So it's the same amount of
yeah,
work they would need to put in to port any other game.
yeah. I mean, if
I do wish they had an upgrade patch as well,
I
because
may,
I mean, I imagine it will be pretty close to the PS4 version. This is honestly probably a lot less work than the Switch version
listen,
was.
let's
'Cause they
say
had
you
to
have
get
the game
new assets
digitally.
for that.
Let's say you have the game digitally, right?
hmm
They should. I think it would have been fair to offer some sort of upgrade
Yeah, even if it was more
fee.
expensive than the other upgrades.
And I understand it wouldn't actually be like an upgrade in the sense of like you'd be patching the base game. You'd probably have to
Right.
delete the game
Yeah.
and then just download the new one, right?
hmm
And maybe the tricky part with that is also transferring over the save data since it's like a different build.
Right.
I'm
A lot
sure
of
there's a
PC
workaround
games,
there,
like when
but
they get a remaster on Steam, you just get the remaster for free a lot of the time, even though it's like a whole new version of the game with like new assets and stuff. A lot of PC games do that, so I would have liked to have seen it here on Switch. I mean that's not even free. What I'm suggesting is an upgrade patch or upgrade fee even. So I feel like
yeah,
that would have been reasonable, but I do kind of understand. But at the same time, it's like I imagine they put more effort into the Switch version than they will the Switch 2 version because that had to have like entirely new assets, new materials, new textures. Like, oof, that version was rough. But also
yeah.
totally took a ton of work. So I don't know. Maybe they're compensating for how much work the Switch version took.
Like a thought I have is that like right now to start a generation, there's a lot of money to be made, right?
Yeah.
Um, so maybe they're kind of taking advantage of the situation a little bit. Um, I don't know. It's tricky because at the end of the day, it is a totally different build of the game.
Right.
So yeah, don't love it, but I mean, if you haven't bought I never thought the Switch One version was worth buying, quite frankly.
No.
So
No. I don't understand why anybody bought that version unless the Switch is the
well,
only
I mean,
thing must
I mean,
have.
I'm sure people have bought it. I wouldn't be
No,
surprised
it
if it
sold
actually
pretty
sold.
well. I think it sold a
Yeah,
few billion.
yeah.
I mean,
Um, so
Harry
I
Potter
mean,
is
and
one
you
of the
gotta, and you gotta, you
very,
gotta.
very big IP. So
How many people who bought the Switch One version are gonna buy the Switch Two version?
I mean, if Nintendo's your only platform, I would definitely buy it, unless because it's
But
just
if
such a
you
much
already
better version of
have
the
the
game.
Switch One version, what's the likelihood you would go and shell out $70 after having spent 60 on the Switch One version or whatever it costed?
Right.
I feel like that's got to be a pretty low amount of people. I think it would have made sense to have an upgrade
hmm
like fee, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe even I know a lot of people would hate what I'm about to suggest, right? But it's still better than what it is right now. Like if the game costs 60, I bet it's actually probably on sale. Actually, that like I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
Wouldn't be either.
But let's say it's 60, right? And the Switch 2 version costs 70. If you have the game, maybe there's a $20 upgrade fee. In
Right.
other words, like they would still be making extra money off of you, which is not great, but it would still be better than what it is now, where it's you have the game, great. You want the better version of it? Give me $70.
Facts.
So it's weird. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, let's check in with the chat.
Cool.
Pop it out here so I can see a little bit better. Okay. Hello there, Having Hope. Hello there, Joycey. How are you guys? Thank you for modding tonight. Chris Thorndike, what's a Switch 2? It's a video game system that is the successor to the Nintendo Switch 1. It is a
Mm-hmm.
hybrid console that plays a variety of games.
Yeah.
I could probably say more, but there you go. Darth OP adds me. Sad Swedish fact. If you were in Sweden and got a Switch 2, just a Switch 2 would cost you 700 USD. That is a pretty penny.
That's rough.
Yeah.
It's PS5 Pro prices.
Very expensive.
Oof.
Yeah. Almost says, but everything is way more expensive in Sweden, not just a Switch 2. I mean, I assume, right? I assume it's not like, hey, only the Switch 2 is more expensive. Like, but yeah, I mean, that's still a lot. It's hard. Like, I have a lot of family in Colombia, and they buy a lot of their technology actually here in the United States. Because over in Colombia, it's far more expensive. So, yeah. I have some experience with that. Nish Quick Pops. I was hoping Switch 2 would be my new place for third parties, but I don't know now because of the game keys. The game keys. All right, well, all right, Nish Quick, let me ask you a question though. Like, let's be like fully transparent here. Game keys are still better than download codes.
True.
Okay, because you can resell them, you can trade them, borrow them. They work very, like, functionally they're gonna work very similarly for most people, at least until servers maintain, right?
Yeah.
But think about this for a moment. On other platforms, if you are going for the physical versions of these platforms, which are also sort of finding ways to kind of, kill off PlayStation and Xbox, if you have a disc, you still have to install the entire game before you can play the game. Or at least partially install the game before you can start playing the game. It's really not that different.
I mean, you can install from disk, though, if the servers go down. That's kind of the main difference. You can just rip it off the disk, assuming the whole game is there, which, from what I've heard, and I'm not a master on this, I don't know.
A lot of games have day one patches.
That is true, but the games typically are functional, at least, on day one from the disk. From what I've heard, from most modern games, it's still, like, you can still just rip it off the disk if you have to. But, I mean, for most people, I mean, are you really going to be trying to play the Switch 2 version of a third-party game in, like, 10, 12 years? Or 15 years, or whenever it is the servers go down for this? Like, it's not going to be, it's going to be a while.
So, that's an interesting point, right? Like, because we'll probably, I don't know. It would depend. That's interesting. Yeah, probably won't. Like, I don't plan on going back to play any third-party games on my Switch, or maybe even first-party games for that matter. Like, I
feel like if you're really worried about game preservation for the very long term, then you would be playing on PC.
Now, there is another angle to consider here, though. Storage space.
True.
So, that can make things a bit more challenging.
You've been seeing third-party games are significantly smaller on Switch 2 than the other platforms. So, and, maybe that will continue. We don't know, the exact file size for every Switch 2 game that's ever going to launch, but I've seen a lot of them are around like the 60 gig range for like the really big ones. So that's not too bad. Because like on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, you can easily downloading like 120 gigs for a game.
Yes. I have a few of those on my PlayStation 5. I have a digital only PS5. I have a terabyte of storage, and like I basically I've run out of space pretty quick. And so what I do, I just I delete the games I'm not playing.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be similar, but in the case of Switch 2, you have 256 gigabytes of internal storage, which is not that much. Like it's a lot better than what Switch 1 was, right?
Yeah.
And if you have a lot of cartridges that have the games on the actual cartridge, then that storage space can go a long ways, right?
But
if
if you
you're getting a
mostly
lot of
play first party, it seems like they're not going to be very big. I haven't even seen a single game that's 20 gigs from first party.
Mario Kart World is 23.4
Okay,
gigabytes.
okay.
Yeah.
Because the ones I saw
Yeah.
was the biggest one I saw was Breath of the Wild at 19 gigs.
That was Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild is 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I
Still,
still
that's still pretty small.
Donkey Kong Bonanza is 10.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the one I was mainly thinking about. I remember that one
Yeah.
was like, yeah, very small.
Yeah.
Even so, like 20.
You're gonna have to
25
download. Like, I'm gonna have
gigs.
to download the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom versions on my Switch too. Like, that's gonna.
Right.
Well, I mean, I had the Breath of the Wild cartridge, but
You can
how
still
much?
download Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild 10 times over with the 256 gigs. I mean,
Yes.
obviously you're not gonna have the full 256. It's probably gonna be like
Sure.
240.
The point is,
230,
you could have
still.
like 8 or 9 20-ish gig games,
Yeah.
right?
And those are seem to be the big ones from Nintendo. So
Right, and you could probably fit a lot more. I mean, realistically, eventually people are gonna have to buy a micro SD express card.
Yeah.
Which
which still seem to be cheaper expansion options than. I mean, if you want to go buy an expansion for like the Xbox, you have to buy like these custom ones that just slot in, and they're ridiculously expensive, way more expensive than the micro SD card express. So it's still, I think storage option on Switch 2 is honestly not an issue at all.
yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. Like,
I'm not even going to buy an SD card day one. I'll probably buy one in a couple months after.
There's another angle to this that I don't think anyone is thinking about at all. So, hear me out here. It's and I'm gonna say this part first. People will probably call me a shill for this, but I just think it's a logical perspective. And to be honest, I think all that shill nonsense is just lazy thinking. But hear me out here. In the past, video game generations did not last for 8 years. They lasted 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
And so if you were the kind of person that would, buy, day one and then move on to the next console day one, right? You assume you stick to that amount of time. You're buying a console every 4 to 6 years, right?
Yeah.
We can complain about the price of Switch 2, but we've waited more than 8 years for this console. So, if you think about it from that perspective, you're only buying one Nintendo console per generation, and the generations have been lengthened. Guess what? Over time, you're not actually spending as much money.
Mm.
Oh
yeah.
Because let's say that beforehand we averaged like 5-year generations for Nintendo consoles. Now we're going to average 8. So that over the course of 40 years, right? You would be spending probably more money in the past than you would be now, if that makes any sense. In terms of the pace. Yeah. Because, if you buy a console every 5 years, right?
I mean, if you count inflation, even like an $80 game is probably cheaper than
without even taking inflation into account. But yeah, those are all other things to consider as well. So all I'm trying to say basically is that I'm going into Switch 2 thinking that this is my console for the next 8 years. Like, this is where this is where I'm going to do a lot of most of my gaming on for the next 8 years. So I think about that and I'm like, oh man, now I got to buy a micro SD express card. Yeah, I'm going to have to buy a micro SD express card, but I'm going to probably buy 1 terabyte. And between that and the internal storage and the cartridges I buy, I feel like that'll probably be enough. Am I saying that I'm never going to run out of space? I am going to run out of space, knowing my purchasing habits for games over the course of 8 years. Like, I'm surely going to, but I'm just not going to. But there are going to be games that I'm going to download that I'm going to play once and never want to play again, or I may not want to play it for years, and so I still have record of it on my console, still archived, I just re-download when I want to play it again, and then I still have the 30, 50 other games that are downloaded onto the console with my, terabyte plus of storage.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's pretty much how I handled it with my Switch.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people complain that gaming is an expensive hobby, but I haven't really thought that's the case. Gaming is actually from the people I hang around, gaming is one of the cheapest hobbies that we have. Gaming is relatively accessible. If you're not on PC, I will say PC is getting extremely prohibitively expensive if you actually want to play like on the highest settings. But if you just want to game casually, even on PC with just like mid-range settings, super cheap. It's not that expensive. It's more expensive than it was, but it's not that expensive. And consoles, honestly, not really much more expensive than they were. A little bit, but if you consider inflation, not really. It's about the same as it has ever been. In fact, it's a lot cheaper than it was like in the late 90s, early 2000s, when games were $80, $90 back then. So that's like 120, $130 our currency now. So I don't know. I don't get why people explain or complain so much about how expensive gaming is, but it's not really that expensive. I think it's just kind of the economy is not great right now.
It's cheaper than going out.
Yeah,
a lot.
it's cheaper than most things. Like I don't,
Dude,
if you,
I can go out easily in a weekend and spend way too much money. Like,
oh yeah,
and I won't
I
even
could
want
spend
to. Like,
60, 80, $100 in a single night going out.
and it wouldn't
You know,
wouldn't even be a crazy
wouldn't even
night.
be that much.
It'll be dinner and if you got a couple drinks.
Yeah,
Like
maybe I
things
went
are
bowling or
expensive.
something. Like.
Yeah. And it depends on where you live, right? I live in Miami, so you know.
Well, I live in a
I'm
pretty
not saying
cheap
I go to
place
like
and still
downtown,
expensive.
like where all the parties and clubbings are at. Like if I go there, it's even
Right.
the prices shoot up more. It's
I just go to
expensive, but
I just go out to like Chili's and I'll spend like 50, 60, $70. And all I'll get is
yeah,
like a couple of entrees and some sides and like 2 margaritas.
yeah. Alma here in the chat says, "Yeah, no, Andres. The amount of games on Switch are 10 times that of SNES, X, and N64. So you do spend more on games technically. If we're talking about storage space, or are we talking about the price? Because maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, Alma, but games are pretty expensive. Like when they were cartridges,
Oh, they were
like
crazy expensive.
they were
Like,
like
I was not lying about the $80, $90 per game.
yeah, like let's see. Let's look up the original MSRP
And I'm not sure
for
about the SNES specifically. I'm thinking more
for
like
Donkey
Super area.
Kong Country, which released in 1994 for Super Nintendo. I want to say that was like $80 or something, but let's take a look. Original MSRP Donkey Kong Country 1994. All right. I was just trying to find the price. I don't know if it's maybe I haven't found. Maybe I should have just put price instead of MSRP. I'm trying to find it. Like, what did it sell at it originally? All right, so I see a GameFAQs thread. This is not really super reliable, but someone's asking, did N64 games really used to cost $70? Yeah, I'm trying to like, I don't. Well, why is it so hard just to like find the price of what games? How much did SNES games cost in 1995?
That's what I'm looking at.
Nintendo released a Super Nintendo Entertainment System, a redesigned version of Super Famicom North America for US $199, equivalent to $460 in 2024. That's interesting. So if you account for inflation, the Super Nintendo is about the same price as the Switch 2, which, by the way, Nintendo considered calling the Super Nintendo Switch.
According
That's interesting.
to and now I know this isn't super trustworthy,
Okay.
but the AI kind of Google thing,
They
they suggest that it's $50 to $70. Their sources are Wikipedia mainly and giantbomb.com.
Yeah, I found a price site, but it just tells you like what, because a lot of these things are
I've
up
seen
for collecting.
magazines and stuff that, had the prices and they were, like 50 to 70 more, sometimes
I mean,
80,
that's what I remember
$90.
the prices were. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why like switching over to disc was such a big deal, because discs were a
Yeah.
lot cheaper to
Yeah.
reprint. Cartridges are, there's a lot more there. It's more expensive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Anyway, so actually, I'm gonna clarify. No, I don't mean the price of the games, but the amount. The library of the Switch is 10 times that of SNES and 64, so you buy more games for the Switch than you would have back in the day. Oh,
Okay.
you mean that there's just such a larger amount to choose from that we're buying more games now than back then. So we're just spending more money.
Potentially, but a lot of the games are like indie games that are not very expensive. Like, I
That's-
wouldn't say there's, well, I mean, there
Yeah,
are a lot more
games
first
are also
persons
a
too,
lot
but
bigger now too. Like our
yeah.
standards, we're spoiled, you know?
Oh yeah,
We're very
definitely.
spoiled. Like games are so smaller then.
Honestly, I want the industry to start going back to more smaller projects. Like, I like the big projects as well, but I don't think every single project has to be this gigantic $400
Well,
million
there's a lot of indie
game.
games, right? But I feel like I see so many
Yeah,
indie games, it feels
but I
like
mean,
it's
like from
oversaturated
AAA
at the same time.
studios. Like AAA studios used to do a lot
Sure.
more smaller projects and like mid-range stuff, or like AA.
I mean,
The
Donkey Kong
AA
Bonanza
industry is dead.
might be more of a mid tier sort of thing. Like I don't
Maybe,
think it's the same like level of ambition and scope and budget as 3D Mario.
probably
Uh,
not.
yeah, I mean it's a 10 GB game. Not that
Does it really? Yeah,
doesn't tell you too much.
no. I mean, they're doing a lot of
Yeah.
crazy stuff with the breakable terrain and stuff. So
No,
they got ambition. But
it's
it
a
doesn't seem like it's gonna be like this huge bloated game like a lot of AAA games are, where there's just way too much to do, but none of it's actually that interesting.
we're let's pin Donkey Kong for a moment. I'm gonna actually start talking about it, but I just
Sure.
wanted to say that going back to the whole like how games used to be, like games back in the day were not that long, but what they did was they made them very challenging, so you would die a
Hmm.
lot, and this kind of gave you this perception that there was a lot more to the game because you would spend a lot more time on these
Right.
areas. Like I remember playing Kid Icarus and I'd spend a long time on that first and second level. Yeah, like
Definitely,
it
definitely.
was crazy. Anyway, let's talk about Donkey Kong a little bit
Sure.
because I do think Donkey Kong is deeper than what some people are giving it credit for.
Pun
From a
intended.
lore perspective, I think. Oh well, actually, I didn't mean to, but yeah, there was a pun there. Um, but I do think this game is very deep, at least from a lore perspective. It's
Ooh,
actually
okay.
kind of crazy just how deep it is, Brandon. So yeah, I'm assuming you've seen the treehouse footage of Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I saw some of it. I saw like one or two segments.
I mean, there's only two segments, so
Okay. I probably saw
have
it
have
once.
you seen like Donkey Kong collect fossils and maps and stuff?
Ooh, no. I did see, because my brother was watching your video, so I did see some of that. But I did not see the treehouse. I kind of know what you're going for, so.
All right. So you can collect maps in Donkey Kong Bonanza,
Hmm.
and these maps represent the maps of prior Donkey Kong Country games.
Right.
Like there's one in particular we've been talking about that's literally at first I thought people were just kind of like my first thought was that it was bogus, but it's not. It's 100% the exact same map
Oh yeah.
as the Northern Hemisphere, like the exact same like pathways.
Hmm.
There are buildings, the same windows and entrances, cave holes, waterfalls, tree locations, island shapes. It's exactly the same. So
Yeah.
it's 100% intentional. And so it's a really interesting level of detail that you would not expect. And so I then wonder, like, is this just a reference, or is it more than that, right? Well, I think it is more than that, because you also have there's fossils. There's all kinds of fossils you can collect. And we've actually seen that there's a fossil in the trailer that you collect that looks like it doesn't look like. I mean, it does look like, because it is a fossil of a Naughty. You remember those beavers?
Oh,
Those,
beaver,
the beaver enemies from Donkey Kong Country and 64.
right.
Yeah, there's a fossil of that, but it goes further. So you've seen all these like rock enemies you fight, right?
Mm.
All these rock enemies have like these weird sort of ancient like hieroglyphs on them. There's something ancient about whatever it is that's housing them, right? But when you break them, inside them are what? Golden skeletons that look that are in the shape of Kremlings. And here's what's even crazier. I saw one specific screenshot of an enemy that was like one of those like rock boulder enemies that was chasing Donkey Kong, and it had two like golden eyes, and one of the golden eyes is like absurdly larger than the other golden eye.
Ooh.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yes, I do.
That's a King K. Rool reference, because King K. Rool has one significantly larger eye than the other.
Right.
Now I don't think that specific thing was King K. Rool, because it was just like, it looked like a common, like, you know,
it's only one him.
Crocoid, or I forget. I don't know if it's Croctoid or Crocoid.
Not sure.
I mean, I can verify real quick. There are just some random things I get confused about.
Not too familiar with the older DKC games. I'm really only familiar with DK64 and Tropical Freeze.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a DKB thing. Bonanza.
Oh, okay.
You're like, well, DKB? What's DKB? I don't know what the DKB is. Oh, where?
I actually was kind of confused for a split second before you said Bonanza. I was like, oh, duh.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find if it's Crocoid or Croctoid. I'm sure someone in the chat's gonna correct me. I just don't remember if there's a T or not. Either way, they're based off Crocs, like, clearly. And so clearly they are referencing Kremlins, but this game's already referencing all sorts of different things throughout Donkey Kong history. When you're collecting old bananas, you go old banana, just like in Donkey Kong 64, which you probably would appreciate, Brandon. You know, you have the mine carts, you have the barrels, you know, all the trademark Donkey Kong stuff. There's even a lot of dialogue that we've seen from multiple playthroughs of the Lagoon level with Cranky Kong.
Yeah.
And Cranky Kong actually makes multiple references to what seems almost certainly to be King K. Rool. He talks about your rival. He talks about a crook. He talks about someone how he's confused, how he can lead such a large group. Someone who's known for stealing bananas throughout time. Like, it's King K. Rool. Also, he's talking about this person, or this. Yeah, he says he uses a pronoun he. He refers to him as a he. Gerard Crocoid Crack. Thank you. So it's Crocoid. Anyways, like, he references King K. Rool clearly, and there's one bit of dialogue where he refers to this person who stole the bananas while you're away at the mine. The mine is the first level of the game. The mine is where all the bananas are stolen by Voidco. So there's an implication that other bananas were stolen around the same time. And Voidco is stealing the bananas where you're at. So who's stealing the bananas of where your house is at? That's what Cranky Kong's referring to here. So we have all these crocoids, right, that have these shapes of different crocodile heads. We have some of the eyes that most of the eyes don't, like, I'm looking at one crocoid right now. This one's just like normal, but there are some that look like King K. Rool. There's a clear reference to the history. Donkey Kong basically tells you that King K. Rool stole the bananas. Like, I'm beyond convinced that King K. Rool is in this game. And it's not even just King K. Rool. I mean, we already talked about Cranky Kong, but Rambi's basically been confirmed to be in this game as well. Because Cranky Kong actually talks about Rambi. He talks about how he rode Rambi down to this underground, right? And it uses the you know how in Mario Galaxy they would reference Luigi and they would have the Luigi face in the dialogue. It's the same thing except for Rambi, which tells you what, that Rambi is at least somewhat involved with the gameplay. So because he's an icon in the game. So
I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in those 2D segments, which look just like they look like the pre-rendered SNES games, but in not pre-rendered now.
I've actually been playing through Donkey Kong Country, and it looks great for a Super Nintendo game, but like the what they showed in the trailer looks way better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, actually real time this time.
It's kind of like how Donkey Kong Country could have looked, you know?
And
it looks really good. But yeah, so I expect Rambi. By extension, I expect to see other Kong characters like Diddy Kong, for example.
Yeah, I definitely expect to see Diddy. I mean, when you were gone, I forget what you were doing the other podcast when you had me just talk to the chat for a bit.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about because somebody asked me if I thought that King K. Rool or the Kremlins would come back and Diddy Kong, and I was like, I think Diddy Kong definitely is in there, but I wasn't sure about King K. Rool because typically, like in my experience, if they bring in another villain, then King K. Rool isn't in the game. So I didn't think so. But you're kind of convincing that he might be in there. Maybe he's like the true final boss, like Ganondorf in Twilight Princess.
The Void Co, Monkey, and Co are they kind of give off brutal vibes.
Brutal?
So the
from Mario Odyssey.
From Mario
I thought
Odyssey.
you said brutal at first.
No.
But yeah, brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the big bad was still Bowser, right?
Right.
I think it's still King K. Rool.
I think it would make sense. I mean, they put him in Smash. Like, he's a big character. People really like him. He hasn't been in a Donkey Kong game in a while, a long while. So I would love to see him back. I do hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Has he been in a Donkey Kong game since 64?
Spin-offs.
Okay.
He's been in spin-offs. He was in DK Barrel Blast. He was in Smash Ultimate. I think there was in a couple others. He might have been like in a Mario like baseball game or something. Yeah, but very, very limited. But the thing is, they are clearly referencing the Kremlins. Like it's so obvious. Oh, by the way, there's more. I mean, I already mentioned the maps about the Northern Hemisphere, which that alone should already kind of tip you off, right? But there is actually something even kind of crazier. Well, I mean, that's pretty crazy. Let's say equally crazy. Close. So, Ingot Isle, right? When the monkey brutals, the Kong brutals, right? Void Co, suck in all the golden bananas and sink Ingot Isle. We actually see where Ingot Isle is when the map zooms out, and there's a giant lake, and there's like an aquatic entrance. It looks very similar to where Croc Core is located from Donkey Kong Country.
Okay.
And so I think it was Donkey Kong Country 2. I might be confusing 2 and 3, but there is a volcano there, right? And so inside the volcano, you do fight King K. Rool, right? You fight the Kremlins. You see like there's a whole bunch of crumbling statues, and there's like this like blue pinkish energy that's inside Croc Core and is shooting out the volcano.
Oh,
So one in Bonanza, we see that location. It looks very similar to where it looks like Ingot Isle replaced Croc Core, right? But it gets pressed deep down underground. And what we've noticed all throughout Donkey Kong Bonanza is that there's this very interesting color motif of like this light, shiny blue, pink all throughout. Like it's literally in the logo, right? One corner is pink, one corner is blue. We see it in a lot of the like technology, or like there's like hand signs you can slam onto. The barrels have it. But perhaps what's bigger is that there's a specific screenshot where you see like a colored smoke very similar to what was coming out of the volcano back in the country games from Croc Core, coming out of the minecart, coming out of like all these different like factory like chimneys. I mean, I should just show you the screenshot.
Sure.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is something I covered in a video recently, just for the record. But okay, I was seeing if I had.
My brother's been keeping up with your channel more than I have because I haven't had time.
This would be wild times. Okay, so let me pull it up. Give me a second.
No problem.
All right. So, where is our thing? Okay. Present, share screen. Okay. So you see my screen, right?
Yep. Seeing all these lovely Donkey Kongs.
Look how much bigger this dude is, by the way.
Yeah.
He's in a throne. He's a giant Kong.
Seems very old. All the bananas are like brown.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a King Kong.
Oh.
King Kong. Okay. Anyway, this is the screenshot I was talking about.
Yes.
So, like, there's all these factories here, right? So this is it's very similar to Croc Core from like the energy that's coming out. Look at the minecart. If you look carefully, you can see like there's the pink blue light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you what I was talking about on the logo. Here's the blue, here's the pink. Look at the black streaks, pink and blue. Like it's a common motif throughout. I could take you to the treehouse stuff. It's all over it too in different areas. So it just seems like that there's some sort of like energy that's being harnessed that represents itself in this way, very similar to the energy that was harnessed back then as well. So there's kind of a lot to this. Like some people are theorizing that there might be like an undead or like an undead King K. Rool.
Right.
You fight him in like
that'd be crazy.
Like almost like dry Bowser style, you know? That would be interesting. I want him to be the leader. I don't want him to be just like a possessed minion.
Yeah.
But this wasn't the one I was talking about, by the way. But I do kind of feel like it's hard to say for sure because it could maybe be the angle, I guess. But I do feel that this eye is clearly bigger than this eye.
It's hard to say. This screenshot.
This is not the one I was talking about, though. I saw a screenshot earlier. I wish I like chronicled it. Like I don't have it on hand. I could find it, maybe, if I keep looking. I scroll Twitter for 30 minutes.
Thanks. Man, this game looks good though.
It looks so good.
There's a lot of it has I wouldn't be surprised if it's using like the Mario Odyssey engine, because it has a lot of the same kind of look, but it's so much more dense. Like there's so much more in the environments than what we saw in Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
It
Oh, you were
just
looking at the one screenshot. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Looks great. Really good.
and I would say the textures on the environments that aren't destructible are like really good. They're actually really high resolution,
Right.
very nice looking textures.
Yeah. Things that have to be destroyed are simpler.
Yeah, which makes sense. You're just gonna break through it anyways, and you have to have
Right.
like the texture going through this whole layer. And I'm not even sure how honestly that would even work. The tech is kind of beyond my understanding. I would love to learn how they're doing it though.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. I'm trying to find a specific screenshot. I don't think I'm gonna find it. I don't know. I might find it. I might find it.
I believe.
I don't know. Like I did find it actually.
Aha! See, told you. Just gotta believe in
I
yourself.
had a lot of doubt, to be honest.
Zero doubts in my mind.
Oh, that's way too blurry. Okay. So there's this Twitter post here I saw earlier. They just showed like different
Ah.
screenshots of Donkey Kong. And look at here.
Mm,
Quite
okay.
literally, that eye is way bigger than
Definitely.
yeah. So like I almost wonder like if like to me this feels like a King K. Rule reference. I mean maybe it's not because then you go like, oh look at the Oddrock. Oddrock has one eye that's bigger than the other, but it's not the same style.
Hmm.
This is kind of like that. It looks like the eye it's like about to pop out, super strained kind of look like King K. Rule.
Yeah.
And again, reminder, like we've seen all these different rock like things that have Kremlin skeletons inside them, right? So that's why I look at this and like, oh, maybe that's also possibly a reference. And it has me wondering, could it be that King K. Rule actually controls all these dudes telepathically, which is why it has the eyes of King K. Rule,
That'd be interesting.
right? Yeah, maybe King K. Rule in his undead form has like evil wizard powers.
Mind control.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Bonanza is actually pretty deep, and apparently, I saw this said by Andre Seegers from Game Explain that he's been told people who have gone to play the game like in non-public form. He said this on a video, like it was like 30 minutes into like an hour-long video.
Mm.
That there is a lot more to the game than what's been shown so far, which some people might say, well, duh, right? But it's brought up because what's been shown so far, like there's kind of like this concern, oh, is it just about like just destroying everything? Is there any more to the game beyond that? And the way Andre said it, because he's kind of like on the fence on the game from what he's played so far, it seems like he's had conversations with people where they said, yeah, there's a little bit more to it than just that. I mean, I think you could actually already make that argument without having heard that, I guess, rumor, because we've seen towns, and there's towns in this game. There's a heavy emphasis on lore. We've seen the side missions as well. Like there's different things that can be done.
Right.
But when I think about like the towns, like okay, like that's not just meant to like destroy stuff. Like there's characters you interact with and do things with. Will there be side quests and things of that nature? I mean, we've seen a little bit of that in the lagoon already, actually. So you know,
It seems like, I mean, I don't think there's anywhere it's going to be just destroying stuff because we've seen a lot of different types of gameplay. We've seen the mine carts, we've seen 2D side scrolling sections, we've seen 3D platforming sections. Like, there seems to be a lot of variety to this game other than just destroy everything in sight, which is already, honestly, for me, enough of a hook with my OCD. I'm just like, yes, please, let me destroy everything.
The destruction's gonna be like the destruction plus collection is gonna be fun.
Oh,
But
dude,
even like the
give me a
platform mechanics look
collectathon
really
every
good.
day of the week. I
Yeah,
love collectathons.
so fun. It just seems. I think they just try to find a way to make it a more fun collectathon. So yeah, I'm into it.
Donkey Kong 64 was kind of too much of a collectathon, arguably.
But Brandon, let me let's shift gears here a little bit.
Sure.
I want to talk about Metroid next.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm checking in with the chat here, but let's just go into this. So I put out a Metroid video today. For those who haven't seen it, I'd appreciate if you watched it. We'll see what happens. Video's not doing too hot right now, but it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but what can you do?
Fair. Guys, go watch it after the podcast. Give it some views. Share it with your friends.
So we had a website update. Let me just show you the website. And do I still have the Japanese one? I mean, it's in Japanese, so it doesn't even matter.
Fair enough.
Unless you can read
Google
Japanese.
usually does translate pages.
Well, this is
not a lot of artwork.
I've translated it already in prior videos, but not through Google. On iPhone you can take pictures and it recognizes the text, so that's how I've been able to do it. But you see them on the website, right? So I'll show you the Japanese site real quick. It's loading apparently. Okay.
I mean, the servers are probably in Japan, so.
All right, so here's a Japanese site. Okay. When you scroll through here, you'll see that it has like the English name, and then you see the characters. This is just saying Samus again.
Okay.
And it does that for all the different sections. Like this, basically it does it twice, right. Once in English, once in Japanese.
I notice Japanese does that a lot. Sometimes even on box arts where they'll have English and then the Japanese, and I don't understand why that is the case, but
But we recently got this website update for here on the US store, so the English speaking like I guess equivalent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like that here. It says Bounty Hunter, it says Samus, right? And then her name. And so it does that for all of them, which means that they're actually adding a little bit more text than from what we had before. And there's a few that I find to be quite curious, such as the Lamorne. The Lamorne, here they say friend or foe. And I actually think this is like a huge freaking deal. Because, like, I thought it was pretty obvious that they were friend.
Right.
But
now we're questioning.
Now, like, why are they putting that into question? Now, some people might say, like, listen, they needed to fill this space because in Japanese that's what they do. So they just thought of text to kind of fill in the gaps. But two things: one, it's not exactly the same. They could have just had Lamorne. They could have wiped this little extra bit of text if they wanted to, right? They didn't have to fill it in, right? This is not like a dub where you have the exact same like animated scenes and you have to fill in with more words just so it matches the amount of time the character's speaking. This is not that situation. They could have just edited out the text. They didn't. But let's say, even that logic holds and they just kind of need to fill it in because of that, right? There's so many different things they could have said. Like they're not just pulling this out of nothing. They could have just said, wise guardian or an ancient race. Like, there's so many things they could have said.
True.
But they're actually saying something. They're putting into question who this character is, or this race is. I should say it's not just this one character, friend or foe. And so we're kind of gonna go like way, way crazy here, right? So little by little. I've talked about some of this stuff before, but there's other stuff that I've seen other people bring up that I think is actually really good. And I think I've seen some people theorizing on it before, but now with this extra little bit of evidence, I'm like, oh, well, maybe there's something to that thinking.
Maybe.
So let me share you this screenshot here.
Okay.
Actually, I'm wondering, can I window share instead?
I have my own thoughts on what friend or foe could mean, but I'll let you finish.
Oh yeah. So let me see if I can I'm just trying to find a way to like share two things at once. Okay, that's gonna be messy. I should do it on a separate screen. Okay, I'm figuring it out. Bear with me.
We're doing it live.
I got it. I do got it. Okay, that's good. All right, entire screen. Okay, so you see these two different characters here, right? This is a Lemorn, right? This is some sort of abhorrent creature on Viros.
Mm-hmm.
I have speculated beforehand that these two are perhaps related. I'm not saying that this specific character, who's, by the way, transparent, implying it's a ghost, right? Is this.
It
I'm
could
not
be
saying
like
they're the same person, but could they be the same species? Because notice the tentacles, right? Also
That's
notice
exactly what I was looking at.
these things also have extra limbs. I don't know if you can see it clearly in this screenshot here, but they have an extra set of limbs, as does they can see his hands here and here. Also, look at the hands. Let's see how they're like these long like fingers. Look pretty similar to these as well, I would say. Now, something I do notice is different is that this has 6 kind of tentacles, and I only see 4 here. So it's not exactly the same, but it's eerily similar.
The design language is very, very similar.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so then that's what I initially thought. Like, I wonder if maybe there are some Lemorn that kind of went rabid crazy, and this is what they've become, or perhaps they do mention this is an extinct race, right?
Okay.
So which is also kind of interesting choice of words, because if they're extinct, why are they? Actually, they don't say extinct. I'm sorry, they say they no longer exist, which just seems like a really interesting choice of words, especially because
they're asking for a favor from Samus, even though they don't exist.
Yeah, they specifically say an alien race that once existed on planet Viros. So they once existed on planet Viros. Does that mean that what's in front of us is not in existence, right? And it's a ghost, it looks like, so maybe it's dead. But then we see this other thing,
or maybe it's some kind of projection from somewhere else. And maybe they fled. Maybe these things, maybe something took them over and like corrupted a lot of them, and then the rest of them fled. And this is what remains.
Yeah. All possible. So I haven't told you the extra crazy thing yet.
Okay. Give me the
twist. I think I want to hear your take.
Okay.
Before
My initial thought is some of them are with you and then some of them are not. Which kind of furthers I like that you showed this, because I kind of do get the feeling that, you know, maybe whatever you bring up as the twist or the other crazy thing is contradicts us. But I do like the theory that maybe these are like corrupted or some sort of different version of the same race. And some of them are with you. You know, the ones like this guy on the left are more friendly, and then the ones on the right, maybe not. But in general, I kind of get the feeling with the way they word it that maybe not all of them are on your side. Yeah. At the same time, it's I do kind of also get the perspective of people who are saying like, oh, well, it's just they kind of designed the website that way and they wanted the text. Because sometimes they do kind of imply like, oh, is this guy good? Is he bad? And then they're just good. So that does happen sometimes. I can't think of any specific examples, but I fairly certain I remember that happening at different times. So I could see that. But assuming that, you know, there is more to it than that, I kind of like the theory that some of them are evil and some of them are not, and maybe something corrupted some of them. And maybe that's why they're asking for a favor, because something on their planet's like corrupting all of them, and they had to leave, and they want Samus to get rid of it so they can come back. Who knows? Because we don't know what this favor they're asking for is. We have no idea.
Yeah, they refer to Samus as the chosen one, and at first I sort of looked at that like that is like I thought they were kind of good, but if I take a moment to kind of consider another perspective, like what if they have ulterior motives, you know?
True.
Then I'm like I start looking at them a bit differently. And I'm trying to
Maybe
pull up
you think
another
you're doing the right thing, but you're actually making things worse.
right.
Who knows if maybe Sylex is somehow secretly the good guy?
Well, the thing is, maybe
Because he never attacks Samus, he only attacks the object, from what we can tell. You know, we were looking at that
right,
the last podcast.
right. Like we figured that he probably like yeah, and there's something about that we're gonna get to as well because
I think
I
that's
mean
maybe a bit of a stretch to say that he might be the good guy, but who knows? Who knows?
he could be an anti-hero.
True, true. I think if he was, he would definitely be an anti, because he has ulterior motives as well. I don't think he's, for sure, he's definitely not 100% good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I got something that might blow your mind or not.
Alright.
Okay. So I got another image. Did it pop up yet?
Yes, that's Prime.
That's
What's it
Metroid
called?
Prime.
Oh, it's just called Metroid Prime. Okay,
That's Metroid Prime.
that makes sense.
Now, hear me out here, bro. Hear me out here. You see how that eye's bigger than that eye? This is King K. Rool. Okay, that part's a
Yes.
joke.
But
But
it does have 3 tentacle head on its head. And,
yeah, it matches from a tentacle perspective. Also, there's this whole thing about psychic abilities, right? And like they got this special thing going on their heads. This dude's got a massive brain.
The face really looks very similar.
Bro, it's kind of creepy to kind of consider.
It's almost uncanny. Wow. They look very similar.
This is kind of terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah. Like I didn't want to believe this theory when I initially thought I had heard about it. You know, like and when we first saw Lamorne. But now that like we see on the website that they're being referred to as friend or foe, then it has you thinking about different possibilities, right? And so consider this for a moment, right? We've already theorized that where they are in Viros, there might be something. It may not just be a different location; it could also be a different time, right?
True.
And if that's the case, what if Viros is tied to the origination of Phazon? And if it's tied to the origination of Phazon, when Phazon fused with a Metroid, what happened? We got Metroid Prime. Right? And so what if that's the similarity there, right? So we're seeing perhaps the originators of the Phazon radiation. We don't know what created the Phazon radiation, right? That's always been a question. Like we just kind of been like, all right, well, that's just a thing that exists. It's kind of a problem. So I mean, well, there was we did supposedly like destroy the source of the Leviathan seeds and where the Phazon, you know, the Leviathan seeds were flying out to different planets and causing, you know, the Phazon to spread out and cause a ruckus. So, but what I don't know, like it's still possible that there could be something that created that, right? And so it's an interesting idea, at least. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
It could be interesting, and it gets more interesting when you think about like what if this is Sylex's plan all along? He stole a Metroid, and he wants to find a way to get more Phazon because he wants to recreate Metroid Prime, and so the only way to do it is to go back to the original source, and so he found a way to get sent back in time to where. Or back in time or to a realm that had to do with the Lamorne, who might be somehow tied to this. And just another interesting element here. We're talking about how Phazon fused with a Metroid to create Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now in Prime 4, we see that Metroid is fused with other things, or Mocktroids. It's kind of they refer to them as Metroids in the Treehouse footage, so I don't know. Like they just decided to change their design, but either way, like there's almost like a role change here. So it's an interesting set of
Very interesting.
events. But let me continue here because we're not done. There's more to this.
Ooh,
There's
this
more to
rabbit
this.
hole goes deep.
Yeah. So, back to the website. Okay. Now for Sylex, they refer the extra text we see for Sylex is a deadly sharp shooter. You might be like, all right, well, why is that a big deal? Actually, Brandon, let me ask you, why do you think I think this is a big deal?
Because the only time we've seen him shoot, he completely whiffs.
Exactly. Exactly, Brandon. Exactly. The
But
only
happens to
time
directly hit the thing behind Samus.
that causes this entire thing,
Right.
Like it. I mean, we've gone over the footage before,
Mhm.
right? I mean, we could go over it again, but when you look at, I mean, we're going over it again. Like,
Sure.
just is easier to show on YouTube, right? Probably.
Probably because you can go like frame by frame.
Yeah.
I find it's hard to skim through video players that aren't YouTube.
It's easy to show on Adobe, actually.
True. Adobe's easy too.
I should say Adobe's easier. So that's what I'm actually gonna do. So instead of that, let me share my window again. Okay. So let me pull up the treehouse footage. Make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So it's towards the end. All right.
Oop.
Okay. All right. So here we are. So I don't think Samus is directly in front of the device.
No.
Right? Like she is. Like he sees a camera. Like she's not. She's not. Like literally, look at that. Like maybe like her arm is like by the very
to her
side of it.
left, behind her.
Right. Exactly. And so as we continue, that's a beautiful shot.
Oh yeah, materials in this game so good.
This shot's beautiful. You see the lightning or electricity, right? And it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It still doesn't even look like it's gonna hit Samus. Like it looks like it doesn't look
Samus
like
does not actually move out of the way. It just doesn't hit her. If Samus had tried to do that and it was aimed at her, she would have got hit.
right. Like it also like it doesn't like. Here's the other thing.
It's directly in the middle of that.
Exactly. It is directly in the middle of it. It's not like, oh, I hit like the side of it accidentally. It's a straight, clean, perfect shot. Maybe Sylex did not know what was going to happen, but he definitely hit it on purpose.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
He's a deadly sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Either he's a deadly sharpshooter or Nintendo be lying. By the way, look at this like just the screen here. Like it doesn't even look like a game. It looks like a figurine.
The cutscenes look absolutely insane.
Right? Like doesn't it doesn't look, it looks real. Like not like real life. It looks like a toy in real life, if that makes any
it
sense.
looks
like a really
an animated
detailed
movie.
toy. Or that. Like maybe that makes sense too.
They seem to add a lot of different, like there's a lot more effects going on during the cutscenes.
Like look at all the lights, like you can see the light flare. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Sylex doesn't even defend, he just takes it. Just boom. Just gets whacked. But this is another interesting thing to consider, like when we kind of talk about Sylex and like who he is, and if he's like not really a villain, but an anti-hero, because he doesn't actually try to hurt Samus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we assume that based off where it seems he aimed a shot, right? He actually basically let Samus just like blast the shit out of him.
True.
You see, he's not dead though, because he moves his head up. Of course, why would they kill him off so quickly? But
Yeah, and that would
Yeah.
not be enough to kill him.
no,
Surely.
or wouldn't be. That brings me up to another point. So going back to, let me go back to the website one more time. He obviously is referred to as a bounty hunter, right? But
Mhm.
there's something else here that I found to be curious, and it's that. Hold on, I see kind of like, I'm just noticing the way they should. Okay, that's fine. Anyways, they refer to Samus as one of the greatest bounty hunters in the galaxy, which I find to be curious. One of, not the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. Like,
Right.
that dialogue right there is kind of implying that there are others that are on her level, presumably like Sylex. And
Right.
something else to point out here, like you look at, let me show you this. I realized I was sharing it. This is the Metroid official Metroid Nintendo website, right? When they introduce Samus, they say suit up as an indomitable bounty hunter, Samus. Indomitable means you can't possibly be defeated. Which would suggest that she is already the greatest, right? So there is a little bit of a contradictory bit of, explanation on who she is between these two different sites.
Right.
And I think it's purely because they are hinting at the rivalry between Samus and Sylex, and possibly others, if there are other hunters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we don't know if Sylex is the only other hunter we're gonna see in this game. There definitely could be others.
no, we don't. We don't know. XShow. Well, Boba Fett. Yeah, Boba Fett's also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite Metroid
The
character.
greatest bounty hunter. Yeah. So I love the
I
idea.
like this anti-hero idea.
Right? We're on the
kinda
same
see
page.
that.
Yeah. I want to see that too, Brandon. I want to see, like, I'm not saying he has to be an all great guy. Maybe he dies. Like, I just want him to be an interesting character, right? Like, he's making certain choices. Like, by the way, for many years, there have been many long running theories. I mean, literally things happen in the game where the actions of the Federation are questionable, and yet Samus still aligns with them, right? Maybe aligns with them is a wrong word, but they ask for her help and she comes,
Yeah.
So,
but she's also, she's independent.
She's independent, but she is definitely associated with the Federation, right?
We don't know why Sylex hates the Federation, right?
We do not know why.
Okay.
It is believed
could have been something they did wrong.
That his suit is stolen. He's stolen tech from the Federation.
Maybe he's ex-Federation.
I feel like he probably has to be.
That could be an interesting angle for sure. He's like he had bad blood with the Federation, and while during being in the Federation, something happened. He's like, nah, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna take you all down now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I have an idea, but it's just one of those things where no one wants to take it seriously. But I keep thinking about it. I know, like, a lot of people are like, no, it can't be that. It can't be that. But
it is Nintendo. They, it could be anything.
It's actually Ridley. Ridley in a man's body. No, so
Yes.
the silly crazy theory, right, is that um Sylex is Ian Malkovich.
Who
Ian
is?
Malkovich is Adam Malkovich's little brother.
Oh,
Um, Adam Malkovich used to be in charge of Samus when she used to work for the Federation, and when
right.
Samus is younger. This is one of the reasons like Metroid Other M might be kind of like a big deal because of this. Um, Ian Malkovich dies in an explosion, and basically, like Samus wanted to go save him, but they ultimately decided that it was too late. It wasn't worth it, and he dies in an explosion trying to do
Jeez.
on some mission for the Federation. And so that's it. That's all from what I know, at least. That's all we know about Ian Malkovich. But what if, after being left for dead in an explosion in space, Ian survived and was kind of pissed,
Understandable. Yeah,
right?
I could see that.
Yeah.
Like him. Then he's, Sylex is like his Darth Vader kind of, persona.
It would be really cool if they could do something. Like I think it would be interesting if they can show some sort of relationship, because like if it's just like a random person, it's like, oh yeah, it's more meaningful when there's like
I
some sort
hate
of
the
connection.
Federation because they're too good, and they always stop me from doing bad stuff. That'd be kind of boring.
He could just be like, yeah, I hate stuff because
I hate
they're
these dang
too
space cops.
strong. By the way, Gerard had asked, is Silas going to have a voice actor or is he silent? I don't think any of it's officially confirmed, but I will say someone told me they heard something about Sylex having a voice actor. So,
Okay. I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if he
I
had
mean,
0 lines, but because there's already voice acting confirmed in the game, right? We've
yes.
seen it. Yeah.
Yes. It's
So
in the treehouse footage. There's voice
yeah,
acting.
I was pretty
So,
sure.
yeah, there's already voice acting we've heard in the game. Like there's several characters that talk. Now none of them are super important characters, but they talk. Um
Mhm. I'd be
so
shocked if he
yeah.
didn't have any lines at all ever.
Oh, I mean, it's gonna be interesting, right? Because the first run in between Sylex and Samus, we believe that Sylex actually did not attack Samus.
Mhm.
So there may be multiple run-ins with Sylex throughout the story, and we're gonna kind of learn a little bit more and more about him until we kill him at the end, and he's like, "Oh, I am your best friend from many years ago."
Right.
Yeah, I mean that would
I
be
have a
crazy
feeling
if
if
they if
that's
they
the case, he'll probably end up like sacrificing himself instead of you killing him. But who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, it'd be something like that. Like, and it would be something like that. Um, like the thing is, like, I don't know if we're gonna see Samus talk.
Yeah, it would be kind of like having a Link talk situation,
Well, the thing is, Samus has talked, and she talks in Metroid Dread. Did you play Metroid
Oh,
Dread?
no, I never had the chance.
That's
I
one of
wanted
the
to play it
games.
on an OLED, and then I
My
haven't
dude,
gotten OLED.
my dude, you gotta play Metroid Dread.
No, I
Metroid
know.
Dread is
I
really freaking good.
I know it's a great game, and I
I
really
hope I
want
didn't
to play it.
spoil that for you.
No, that's fine.
But also,
I'm not.
it's been
I'm more interested in
almost 4 years.
the
So,
gameplay than the story
but
because I don't know
Metroid
a lot
Dread
of.
has it has some really strong like story beats. Then there are a
Okay.
few Samus moments where her voice actor does an insane work.
Okay, then I'm sure she'll have some lines in this one then.
Uh,
I just kind of thought it was like a Link situation where they didn't want to pick a voice actor because people wouldn't like it or whatever.
I mean, so I'll say this: Samus is a woman of few words, right?
Yeah,
But there are words, and when she talks, it's like,
right. She
oh,
only talks when she has something to say,
yeah.
something real important.
She doesn't really respond to the troopers, right? She's like, all right, bet. Like just like when I say all right, bet, like they understand
The
that when
nod.
the nod is all right, bet, right? Like that's it. Yeah. So I do think Samus could talk in Prime 4, and I honestly hope she does. Not all the time, right? Like,
She
but
talked in Dread. I think she will.
just if there's a few key story moments where it makes sense for her to talk. Yeah, again, like when I
It
say
seemed they're
key
going
story moments,
all
I
out with
don't
these
mean like
cutscenes.
to the trooper, hey, I'll do that, or great job, trooper number 23. Not like not like that, but like, but
Right.
like, but like if like Sylex dies, she said, Samus is like, well, says I'll avenge you, or something like that, or maybe like some sort of one liner here
Mhm.
or there that makes a lot of sense for the story.
Right. I could definitely see that. I'd be kind of shocked if there wasn't.
Yeah.
Considering that Dread had voice or had lines for her, then I would assume. This game seems to be going very hard into the cinematics and the cutscenes and the story, and so
Yeah. Alma, good point. So Alma says, what if you travel back in time to have his revenge? He did steal a Metroid egg. Maybe Mother Brain is involved with time travel. I don't know anymore. Um, Alma also says he was also in the secret ending of 3. And so the part about him being in the ending of 3, I think is really interesting because presumably a lot of time has passed since the end of Prime 3 and Prime 4, because you also have the events of Federation Force, for example, right? Actually,
okay.
let me check. So Prime 4 takes place in 20x9. Prime 3 takes place in what? 20x7? What year does Metro Prime 3 take place? 20x5.
Okay. So does
And
that imply 4-year gap, or
I
I mean, it can't be too much more than that because Samus is still like pretty much the same age.
she might also age slower, right? But and the main point is that clearly some time has passed. Wait, hold on. I say 20x5. That might not be true. So I was just looking at a thread here. They say, my friend and I were wondering for this little project we were working on. So obviously Metro 1 takes place in 20x5, but I'm not exactly sure when Prime 1, 2, or 3 take place. I know Federation Force says it takes place in 20x6. So then when does the trilogy take place? 20x5, 20x6? And specifically, I'm looking for the time place of Metro Prime 3, but responses would be appreciated. Apparently, I don't know. This is because the other person is saying that the primes take place in 3 years later in 20x8, according to an art booklet. I'm not sure. Either way, I think the fact that we have Federation Force in between Prime 3 and 4, presumably, what it means is that Sylex is following Samus at the end of Prime 3. Stuff happens. Sylex is now attacking the space pirates, right? Like, so for some reason, but basically what I'm trying to get at is that when Sylex is following Samus at the end of Prime 3, he's keeping tabs on her. He an attacker, right, from what we know, unless they explain that later, but he's keeping tabs on her, and he afterwards goes on to do his own thing, and then their paths, intersect again in Prime 4.
Right.
Yeah.
He's leading an entire army in 4, it seems. So he's
Right.
amassed a lot of friends in
Right.
the space pirates.
But I'm really just getting at the fact that he was keeping tabs on her for some reason.
Mhm.
Like, it's not like he didn't attack her. He didn't try. He just was like following her for a little bit or spying on her for some reason. So what is that reason? Like, what is this attachment he has with Samus? Is it just because he wants to keep tabs on the enemy, right? Keep your enemies closer than your friends or what have you? Like, maybe it's that. Or is it,
Sure.
like he just
But if
wants
he's
to
going
know what's
after this
going on with her?
artifact, Samus is only adjacently linked to it because she's linked with the Federation, but the Federation's the one with the artifact. So if he's going after that specifically, it doesn't make sense to keep such a close eye on Samus herself. because you can just go attack the Federation. If anything, he kind of chose to attack the Federation when he knew Samus would be there, because Samus isn't there all the time. I assume Samus is not there most of the time, but
Yeah.
she happened to be there when he attacked, or at least was close enough that she can go there and help, right? So I wonder if maybe he purposely planned to attack when Samus was going to be around, because he wanted Samus as well.
Well, there have been a series of attacks on the Federation, but this one in particular seems special because they really got the jump on them.
Right.
So I will point out in the chat, Wilberforce Rooster looked at the trilogy art book and seems to be verifying what this Reddit thread is saying, that the Prime series takes place 3 years after Metroid 1. So that would mean 20x8, we presume, because Metroid 1 takes place in 20x5. So if Prime 4 takes place in 20x9, yeah, we would assume it's 4 years. But the thing is about the Metroid timeline is a little messy, because we're not sure what the X actually means.
Right.
The cosmic years are a little weird. So, like I said, the main point is just I think it's important to note that Sylex was keeping tabs on Samus at the end of Prime 3, steals the Metroid at the end of Federation Force, now is leading the Space Pirates, attacking the Federation all over the place with a whole bunch of new Metroids that look kind of like mock droids that confuse with things. Like, he's been putting in work over the years, it looks like. Over our years, our Earth years. I don't know what that means. And it may just be one cosmic year in the Metroid series, but yeah.
Fair, because we don't know how long a cosmic year actually is.
Yeah.
Like, is that 365 days? Who knows?
I mean, it's a really good point, actually. A cosmic year is very, like, we got to remind ourselves that a year on Earth is based off,
our rotation around the sun.
Exactly, right? But what would be a cosmic year? Because you're not reliant on one single sun. So how do you define the passing of a whole year cosmically?
Yeah, because not only are you not reliant on one sun, you're not reliant on one planet from one sun.
True. So what is it? Is it a cosmic year? Like, how many times, like, I don't know. I can't even, like, solar system goes around a black hole. Not even that. Like, it's probably on a bigger scale. It's crazy. I don't know. They probably don't think about it that hard.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, Brandon, let me ask you, how hyped are you for Mario Kart World?
Oh, super hyped. Super duper hyped. This looks like it's maybe one of the best Mario Kart games ever. It's got like it's pretty much like a wish list game for me. This is like a dream game. This is like if I could think of like my perfect Mario Kart game, it would be this game pretty much. For the most part.
I'm on the same page. Yeah. How did you feel about that Mario Kart World Direct?
Oh, well, before the Direct, I was saying in the podcast that I didn't think there needed to be a Direct, and I was curious as to why there was one. Well, I was more right than I ever do, because that did not need to happen at all. It was pretty much a giant summation of what we already knew, with a few confirmations that you could already kind of suss out if you were looking hard enough. And then I feel like unless battle mode is just really, really worse than the other games, I feel like there's got to be more than just the 2 battle modes they showed. Like, I feel like they didn't even show everything. So I found it really weird, because I feel like there's still a few things we don't know. We don't really know how Rainbow Road looks, or if that's just going to be like one track, or like a whole new section of the world, or what that's going to be. I know a lot of people speculate on that. Like, it felt unnecessary, and like they focused on all the wrong things. Like, all the new stuff was like glossed over, and they barely spoke about it. Like, I didn't even realize they were talking about new battle modes for a second, because they kind of just started talking about it. Like they just start showing them, but not without really saying anything.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were upset because they wanted like a dedicated single player story mode.
I felt that wasn't necessary. I said that in the podcast too. I didn't think there
But
needed to be one. There isn't.
but they kind of still did it. It's just it's missions mode. But missions
Yeah.
mode is free roam mode
Yeah.
that has missions. They said it has there's hundreds of missions, over 100. I don't know what that means exactly, right? It could be 101, it could be 236. But there are a whole bunch of P switches that have different
I thought
types
they
of
specifically
challenges.
said hundreds, but I'm not sure on that.
Right. I mean, regardless, there's a lot of missions scattered throughout the map, and they're
Yeah,
different
should be
challenges. They're
tons.
not all blue coin challenges. Like I thought they would be
Mhm.
blue coin challenges, and that was the first one they showed. But they also showed one with Waluigi, where it's more like an obstacle kind of course.
Yeah.
And
Into,
so
like,
there could
rings.
be others that we have no idea about. Like they conceivably, there could be boss fights.
Right.
I don't know if there will be, but there could be.
It could. I could see that. I mean, they got the items for it, and
They got the enemies for it too.
they got the enemies for it. Sure, why not? Or like, even if it's not a boss road, there could be just like a enemy wave rush or something.
Sure. Yeah. I
think
mean,
there's a lot of different things they could do.
I don't even, it doesn't have to be fighting. Like it could just be different types of obstacle courses. I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
Just keep it fun and interesting. And
Sure.
so like I think people are really like sleeping on this because like there's a free roam with missions and a whole bunch of things to collect. Like
Yeah.
that is kind of what people wanted. And you can
Oh,
do
yeah.
it, you don't have to do it by yourself either, right?
Exactly
So
what I
it's kind
want.
of the best of both worlds.
Right.
Um
And that's what I was saying in the podcast before the direct. Like, why have stuff that's single player only when you have this big open world where you can run around with multiple people and do it with your friends? Like, doesn't make sense. And that's exactly what they're doing. So it makes sense.
yeah.
I'm super
Uh,
hyped on that. But yeah,
yeah.
I do think the direct. I think if they had held back more information and not showed like a million treehouse segments and like have like such a detailed first trailer, like that trailer really did show like almost every mode of the game, like other than battle mode, which I don't even think they showed all the battle modes. I have a feeling there's going to be more than just those two.
I mean, I hope you're
It
right,
seems
but I don't know.
really shallow, and I feel like it'd be really easy to have more than the two.
Maybe
it'd
also
be
add
like,
more later.
yeah, sure, maybe in free updates or something. But I feel like, when this game's content's all said and done, that's not going to be the end of battle mode. And I'm hoping day one there's more to it than that. But
Let's put a poll in the chat because
sure.
I see
Go for
Alma
it.
right now talking about like where's 200cc? Like why didn't they show 200cc?
I think it is in the game. I would be shocked. I feel like this game would actually work better with 200cc than any of the other Mario Karts, so I think it will be in there. I think they didn't show it because it's not like the main race that they do. But in the direct itself, I don't know why they didn't confirm it. I do think mirror mode is not in the game. I think it just kind of doesn't make too much sense with the way the world works. But 200cc, I would be shocked if that was not in the game.
I mean, I don't see why they can't just have you go in the opposite direction.
Well, see, like, I feel like you could
Maybe they
just
don't call it
though.
mirror mode anymore, but
Right, because the
instead
world
of-
wouldn't be mirrored. You're just going backwards through the track, so it's not exactly the same.
maybe they call it reverse mode or alternate path mode.
Yeah, I mean, you could-
Or maybe they still call it mirror mode and it's actually not as hard as you think it is.
maybe.
Yeah. Like it might be possible. I agree with you, Brandon. I don't see why they would get rid of 200cc. One, that's like the most exciting thing that they, it's like the most exciting like difficulty.
I pretty much
it
only
adds-
play in 200cc in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I'll do 150.
150 if there's less
Sometimes.
experienced players, but if I'm playing to like by myself or with people who know the game, then I always choose 200cc.
Also, like to your point, the maps are bigger, the tracks are
Mhm.
wider, like they look more built for 200cc.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'd be disappointed if they didn't include it. I mean, I'd be disappointed regardless if they didn't include it, but it's been used already a few times. So I think 200cc is even in Mario Kart Tour. Like I just think it's a standard thing
Didn't know
now. Yeah.
I've had mods
Yeah.
to play 200cc and in Mario Kart Wii. So fun.
That is interesting.
Mario Kart
That
Wii
might
has
break
an
the game.
absolutely amazing modding scene. It's actually Mario Kart Wii is one of my favorite Mario Karts because of the mods.
Yeah. That I have never played. I've seen some interesting like modifications of Mario Kart Wii, like different like challenge courses and stuff. It's pretty crazy. I missed being able to do like wheelies, like because I used to use
Yeah.
bikes more than in Mario Kart Wii. I used bikes more than carts because of the wheelie. Now I don't touch bikes at all.
I use bikes, but I use the very like tight inner drift kind of, not the looser bikes.
Yeah.
If you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Because there's kind of like two different feels.
Give me a second. I'm adjusting something.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. 200cc, it's got to be in there. I'd be so disappointed.
Yeah. I'm still here.
Whoa.
Magic. It would be such a. There's no way it's not in there. Mirror, I understand where you're coming from. I think that's maybe the one that's more debate. I feel like there should be both. And if you're not, listen, if you do not have mirror, you got to make up for it.
Sure.
How do you make up for it? 250cc.
Honestly, I really want 250cc. I really do. I think this game could work really well with 250cc. I would love to see it. I honestly, I would even Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I kind of wanted the 250cc mode just to see how insane that was. But in this game, I think it actually could work like super well.
Yeah.
But I doubt they'll do it. Maybe though.
I don't know, man. Dude, I'll tell you this: if they had a 200 and 250cc, I think that would shut up a lot of people.
Sure.
Of course, if it came at the cost of mirror, I think people. I don't know.
I never really liked mirror mode. I always felt that his courses weren't designed that way, and they didn't feel as good.
You want to know what I want?
You
want to know what I want? The return of all cup.
What's all cup? Is that just doing all the cups in a row?
Yes.
Okay.
All the races.
Which games had that?
I think Mario Kart Double Dash had an all cup.
Okay, I didn't own Double Dash.
All cup. In Mario, you would unlock it after you did everything, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Yeah, all cup tour in Mario Kart Double Dash. It was a real thing. The all cup tour is an unlockable cup for Grand Prix Mario Kart Double Dash. In this cup, racers will race through all 16 tracks in a randomized order. However, Luigi's Circuit is always the first track and Rainbow Road is the last. It's possible for the player to earn 160 points if they place first in all 16 races. You can, in theory, replicate this with versus race. You can, I mean, what?
There were only 4 cups in Double Dash?
Yes.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, the game did have a very quick turnaround, like most early GameCube titles.
Well, I mean, that was just, it wasn't because there was not, yeah, I think the standards have changed. There wasn't like extra cups in, I think Mario Kart 64 also only had 4 cups. Like, that was just the norm.
I mean, that's true. Games were a lot smaller.
Mario Kart 64 only had 16 racetracks, 4 cups. Oh. What about Mario Kart? I mean, Super Mario Kart's the first Mario Kart, right? Super Mario Kart. I think that's also, I mean, the thing is, if you only have 2 cups, it's kind of like, is that even a game? So I assume it was also 16. Yeah, so actually this is a neat thing that they have here on the Mario wiki. So here it kind of shows how things changed. So Super Mario Kart had the Mushroom Cup, Flower Cup, Star Cup, Special Cup. Mario Kart 64 had the same cups. Mario Kart Super 6 had the same cups, but also it had a Lightning Cup. That's interesting. Double Dash had the 4 cups. You scroll down, it also had the All Cup Tour. Yes. Then Mario Kart DS is where they really stepped things up, and they kind of introduced a new norm where they would have 16 new tracks with the 4 standard Mushroom, Flower, Star, and Special, and then they introduced the 4 remake cups. Apparently, the Lightning Cup was I didn't know about Lightning Cup, and but I never played Mario Kart Super Circuit for Game Boy Advance. But then,
I assume it's just a version of the SNES game with the Lightning Cup added on, but I'm not sure.
It might be. But then, Mario Kart Wii, same standard. Mario Kart 7, same standard. Actually, Mario Kart 8 was the same standard as well. You see more here because they were added as DLC. The Egg, Triforce, Leaf, and I forget what this is, the bell, the cat bell thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I would have thought GameCube went at like 6. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, like it's kind of crazy that we have all these cups. Actually, like they introduced a lot of new cups for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And by the way, apparently Live Circuit also had the same 8 cup standard. Well, there's just 2 other cups they had, so that's curious. But in Mario Kart World, there are only 7 cup. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is a special cup. It just hasn't been revealed yet. They've already confirmed that there's another track we unlock when we beat all these cups, right? So there'll still be that. But in Knockout Tour, there is another 8 cups for Knockout Tour. So you still have, it's still all, still all there. Just different.
Sure.
This is different style.
Yeah, I'm not the kind of person who directly compares the amount of content in terms of like tracks or races or cups to another game, because I mean, like, sure, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has way more tracks than World's gonna have, but World is doing something completely new. It's introducing an open world, all these mission modes and collectibles and things, and they got the wall riding and the grinding and all this new stuff, and the tracks there's a lot more time put into each one than a lot of the ones in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because that big DLC wave is mostly just up remastered versions of the core tracks.
Like, there's a few that have been reworked, like I forget the name of it. There's like this the one that's based off desserts, right? Like in the Booster Course Pass. I forget the name of it. It's like Sherbet. So no, Sherbet's another one. Booster Course Pass tracks. I probably should have just looked up Mario Kart World tracks, actually. That's what I'm going to do. Mario Kart World tracks. Because when you look at the comparison, you're like, whoa, it looks a lot better. That's just because Booster Course Pass tracks just didn't have that much work put into them.
Okay. Andre seems to be having some technical issues. I don't know if the chat can still hear me or not. Okay, I think StreamYard's still going. So I'm still here. So Andre's PC crashed, guys. So I don't know if you can hear me. It looks like my okay. Wilberforce, thank you. You can hear me. All right, cool. So he should be back soon. I will hold down the fort. Yes, Brandon, restart. Alma, yes. This is my channel now. I run the show. What happened to Andres? I killed him. I shot him and took the channel for myself. It is now Brandon restart, as Alma has said, and yeah, he got too close to the truth, Gerard. You're right, and he's done. I had to put him down. Sorry, my cover's been blown. I am a secret Nintendo ninja in disguise, and yeah, he was getting too close. His channel was getting too big, too popular. He was saying too many things, too true. I had to stop him. Oh, man. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Alright, so I'll just read some of the chat. Rico Lee says, All Cop Tour would be great to bring back. We better have Double Dash mode, man. I think there was an interview at one point that the developers said they had considered putting Double Dash mode in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart 8. Oh, is he back?
I'm back.
He's back, baby.
I was gone for like what, 100 seconds?
I'm not sure. Not too long. At first, I wasn't sure if they could hear me or not. Or
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I like about using StreamYard. If my PC
StreamYard,
crashes, if my PC crashes, the live stream will still be working. And it looks like Brandon got booted for a second there.
Yeah, my headset disconnected for a second.
Oh.
So
Anyway, all I was saying is that yeah, I like StreamYard because if things crash, it still goes.
yeah,
Still goes. Yeah, I literally restarted. It was
thanks.
Andres restart. I forgot what I was talking about. I was looking something up real quick. I don't remember
We
what
were
it was.
talking about. Oh, we started talking about
Oh,
Twitter
no.
CC, but we switched over to something else.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
God. We were talking about. Wasn't Double Dash mode on?
No.
We were talking about the cups, something related to the cups, and then we were talking about something else. Also, Wilbur first, Wooster corrected me. Super Circuit is all new tracks, by the way. Just
You know what I thought about it, right? Like, because we have a lot of Game Boy Advance remakes, like that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I think what you probably were thinking about were the Super Mario Advance games. Because on Game Boy Advance, they were kind of like remakes of the prior Mario Bros. Games.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's almost certainly what I was thinking about.
Thank you, Wilberforce Wooster, for that correction. Rico Lee added me. I have a theory. Worlds DLC could be crossover stuff. So by the end, Worlds both the Ultimate Mario Kart and Nintendo Kart, and in one in a sense, it would be peak. I think. I hope you're right. That is kind of like what I'm sort of like banking on. That they. I mean, think about it like this, right? Like, it's optional. First off, so for those that are like, "Oh, I don't want Nintendo Kart." Right. Well, you don't have to get Nintendo Kart. You can just enjoy your base game. And then for the expansion pass, you're like, hey, there's a Metroid Prime 4 track. Hey, there's a Star Fox track. Oh, there's a Kid Icarus track. Like that would be crazy, right? And then they add all these other Nintendo characters. Like that would be so cool. Like, and
Okay.
what's interesting is that I mean, like, I would love to see more Mario stuff. All right. So if they're gonna do an expansion, right? Let's say it's a 4-cup expansion, right? At first. Well, the Booster Press
Mhm.
Pass was how many boost? The Booster Press Pass doubled the tracks in the game, but that
It
was
was like
insane.
8 cups, I think.
Yeah, that was insane.
The DLC for Mario Kart was 2 waves of 2 cups for the Wii U version. I mean,
Yeah, I mean maybe they could go bigger. They could be like have like
you consider it is already going bigger because when you have a cup, you need the whole world to connect the tracks
right.
together, right? So you're already going a lot bigger just doing 4 cups.
Yeah, I guess my thing is like it would be like half a map, if they would do that if they did that. I mean
Sure.
that's what would be interesting, like how they choose to handle DLC for this game. Are they going to do islands, or are they going to like just
Mm.
like squeeze more stuff into it somehow?
I feel
Um,
like they'll do like a second kind of continent, I guess you could say, like just a
yeah,
second world map. And then they're kind of connected. Like you can go between the two, but they're kind of like one of them's offshore. You kind of gotta like go across to it. I don't know for sure how exactly they'll do it. But that's kind of how I see it.
I could
Like
see
there'll
them
still
even.
be one big interconnected map. They'll just be like, oh, over here, off to the right, you can now go over to the second continent if you go through the water or whatever.
Maybe it's a giant sky island.
That'd be interesting. I kind of feel like might limit what they can do with it.
Well, I mean, what if they got creative, right? So what if like, all right, hear me out. So they add. This is tricky. I don't like. Like, there's a way where they could still keep it as one big space. So imagine if they like Tears of the Kingdom it, right? Where
Right.
they add like a cave system. So like there are underground paths that appear, right? So like they're like entrances, and that takes you into like a whole catacombs of like different like tracks underground, right? They have
Okay.
like their own biomes. And so those intersect, but sometimes they come back out as well, and so they still like loop into the tracks in the area, right? And maybe they do that, and then also sometimes there are things that go up into the sky, where there are Sky Island tracks as well, which there's quite a few in the Mario Kart series, so that those are easy to kind of
Sure.
bring in there. Um,
It kind of
and
seems
so-
like that would make them kind of more segmented, though. I'm curious because I assume with the new cups, you're going from one race to the next, the next, the next, next, connected. I guess they could still do that.
yeah, I mean they can still do it, and they can still mix in some of the current tracks too. Like they could really like mix it up. It would just require changes to the map, by adding like looking for spots where there's like emptiness. I'm like, all right, let's put an
Sure.
entrance here, and let's put like a sky rail here or something, or like like a sky escalator, like like some sort of like ramp that takes you upwards, to the sky or something, or a cannon. Cannons actually might be a nice way to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can for sure.
Now, the tricky part about that is you're adding more to the map, which is more geometry and detail to kind of
Hmm.
keep in mind, it's probably easier to just add another continent.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah,
To be
right.
honest, it's probably easier to just design new content.
And it would be a smaller continent with 4 cups.
Yeah.
So 16 tracks or something like that, right? And that would be an entire thing. Because they can't drip feed it like they used to.
Mm.
They wouldn't be able
Unless
to do
they
that.
do like two two new maps that are like
Right,
next to
but
each other.
that
One
would
of
be
them's like locked off or something.
it's just the thing is like at that point we're talking about like 32 tracks, unless you want to say that the islands are smaller and it's just
Well,
like
no,
8 cups.
yeah,
Then
I was gonna say maybe
eh.
they do 2 cups and then 2 cups like they did before, but I think it would just be 4
I
cups. Oh,
think if you want that Mario Kart World gameplay, you need to kind of have like it needs to be sizable, right? Like if you're only doing 8 tracks, it's it won't feel like I think 16 you can make like a denser version of Kart World and it would work.
mhm.
Um, I could see a scenario where because like you look at like they could treat it like Shadow of the Ur Tree, like it's just an expansion, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole other section to the game, and it's like basically its own thing, right?
Mhm.
I think when we look at it from like the perspective of prior Nintendo like DLCs, they like to do it in waves, right? So we're like, oh well, we'll get some of the content first and then later. Um, that's also possible, but but it would be kind of like how the end of the expansion is like the big thing we're all waiting for,
Yeah.
like with Xenoblade, right? Where it says
Right.
whole adventure, and the meanwhile, it's like other smaller things, like updates to modes, like maybe an expansion pass for Mario Kart World, like if it is 2 waves, the first wave, or maybe it's a series of waves where maybe at first it's just adding more missions, right?
Sure.
Or a boss rush mode, or maybe another battle mode, for example.
250
And they kind
cc.
of drop a few more characters and vehicles, 250cc, like, like things like that, right? Like different random things. And then it all culminates into an extra 4 cups at the end. Like that would be plausible. And
Sure.
I, yeah, I could see that happening.
Nintendo's definitely done DLC like that, where it's the first few waves are kind of very minor. You're kind of waiting for the last one.
Yeah.
Although I feel like they could do a better job here, would you say, like adding more battle modes. If there really is just the 2, I do expect there to be more than that by the time the content's all finished for this game.
Yeah. By the
So,
way, I kind of feel like there'd be more than 1 year of DLC. I
okay.
mean, you look at Booster Course Pass, it's 96 tracks. I'm not saying they're going to get to 96 because of you could argue, even though there's only like 30 tracks in Mario Kart World, it's really a lot more than that because every track is like designed to be sectioned, and the
Mm,
entire map is a track, right?
yeah.
So it's not really fair to say, oh, that Mario Kart World has less tracks. It does, but it also doesn't. It has
Right.
way more. It technically has way more, but
Yeah, that goes along with what I was
structured
saying
very
before. It's
differently.
like I don't like to directly compare like the numbers of tracks or anything because the games are very different.
Yeah,
There's a lot more going on,
it made
and
sense
the
in the past, but
tracks.
not anymore. Yeah,
Yeah, not with this game.
no. But I could still see them still doing like 2 years of like DLC where there could maybe be eventually 8 more cups added, right?
Yeah,
And
maybe.
there's 2 different continents, like 2 different mini continents added to 2 different sides of the
Sure.
world, and then they just add a whole bunch of random other stuff like more CCs, more battle modes, more characters, more missions, costumes, all that stuff is just randomly added over the next few years.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
even know when they
costumes
would
would be
announce
annoying
the
for sure.
expansion pass, right? Maybe they announce that like 6 months. Like I can see them announcing that in a September direct, or even waiting until next year to announce that.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of content because when you think about it, not only do you need to design tracks, you need to design a world to interconnect the tracks. There's probably going to be missions for that world, right? So you got to design all the
Oh
missions
man, that's
and the
fun to think about.
collectibles. And so yeah, there's a lot more going on with these, just quote unquote trying to add
Dude,
4 cups. Like there's a
actually, just
lot more that goes into
thinking
that.
about it now, I could almost see a scenario like, what if they're actually going to use Mario Kart World to sort of buy time for the next Smash Brothers?
Mm. In what
So,
way?
well, what if they just kind of like use Mario Kart as kind of like, oh, what's next for Mario Kart World for the next 2 years?
Okay, right.
Right? Like, what characters going to get added? What are they going to announce next? And then once that's up, then they're like, hey, Smash is coming out, and they ride that wave for a couple of years. That
Thanks.
in my dream world, there will be a few games like this for Switch 2 happening
Sure.
in
I mean,
tandem.
Splatoon 4 is definitely gonna be, I would be shocked if that's not released within the first year of Switch 2. So we got that going for it as well.
All right, so
first 12 months after launch, right?
okay, so
Not calendar year.
I think we're probably not getting Splatoon 4 in 2025 at this point.
Yeah, I would expect it to be next year, but well, it might be just over 12 months.
If you said 18, if you said within the first 18 months, I'd be like, all right, okay.
Sure, because it might come out like
Maybe.
July, so it might just be like just.
How about let's just say within the first 2 years?
Sure.
Although there's a rumor that there's a rumor for both Splatoon and Animal Crossing to come out relatively soon. So,
I mean, Splatoon does make sense because they did end all the updates and content for Splatoon 3, and then not really doing anything more with that game. And
yeah. Anyways, let's wrap up the show. I see Connor here has added us, Brandon. Connor has 2 questions. Andres and Brandon, hi. So 3 days ago was Kirby's 33rd anniversary, so no new information for gameplay for Starcross World and Air Riders. You asked me, I told you there's no way that they're going to do that on a Sunday. And doesn't look like it did, right? And Connor says, then after Kirby's 33rd, it was Kirby Planet Robot's 9th anniversary and Susie's birthday, and still nothing about the issue remake for. So what could this mean? Well, I just think 33rd anniversary on a Sunday, 9th anniversary for one game. Like, I just don't think those things matter that much.
No, anniversaries in general aren't something that you can count on every developer doing something in that year. That's just not how it works. And these aren't like big anniversaries, like 33rd and 9th. Like, come on. Maybe if it was the 10th and 35th, then I might get more behind that. But these are really random anniversaries, to be honest. Like, I don't. It's not too shocking that they haven't done anything for those. And we haven't even seen anything of Air Riders, so I wouldn't expect to see anything of that till the next Direct.
Yeah, the next Direct, late June, early July. That's what I expect.
I don't think the timing made sense for this one.
Yeah. Hey, shout outs to Boo Mini for gifting.
Oh, the GOAT.
A membership, the GOAT of gifting memberships. Corny Puddle has won this membership. Congratulations, and thank you, Boo Mini. Appreciate you. Yeah. Anyway. Off Your Dinos here says, don't know if anyone already saw but the Switch update has game card and share feature and the new eShop. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think they said it would happen in April, right? So April's over. So here we are. It's going to be worth taking a look at.
Well, April's almost over. It's still the 29th. 2 more days. Yeah. Well, 1 more day and a couple hours.
Rico Lee asked me, just imagine how insane a Bonanza track could be. They could do so much with that. Fun fact about Bonanza, Koji Kondo's Bonanza's composer. I found that out from Thunderstash.
Man.
Really?
Koji Kondo is such a legend.
Yeah. That's crazy. I'm very, very curious what's going to happen there. Yeah, that's exciting. All right. Well, I guess let's check out Thunderstash's video on that. That would be cool. That should be cool to check out. But anyways, everyone, thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye, guys.